Silent Hill F, the first completely new, real game since the Silent Hill revival. Is it any good? Yes. Guess that was unsatisfying, but hey, guess I've just gone nuts from too many capsules, huh? Yeah. Silent Hill F is kind of like Silent Hill minus Silent Hill, which didn't exactly thrill me when first hearing about this title, but hey, it's been best not to get too excited about any Silent Hill title until you're actually playing it. And I'd say, for the most part, Silent Hill F made me not mind that it was taking place far away from the ever-increasing sized town that the series is actually named after. There are some connections to the series you can find when you dig into some aspects, and it's got that classic Silent Hill fog with something you can sort of call an otherworld. But this is not directly connected to any previous Silent Hills. Still more connected than Silent Hill Shattered Memories, really, with Multiverse Harry Mason.
Someone has to take the blame.
Forget me. Huh? What was that? Who in the hell was that? This is going nowhere.
Silent Hill F won me over largely despite my reservations going in due to it having an actually creepy atmosphere, which while obviously not exactly the same as the original Silent Hill games, feels in the same spirit to me. And the gameplay made me feel like I was playing a psychological horror game from back in the day. I guess some are really down on the combat system of this game and think it's too clunky, but for the most part I didn't have much issue with it.
This is in rough shape. I'm going to need to find a replacement fast.
Breakable weapons is usually not my favorite gameplay mechanic, but I didn't hate it here, and it being slightly jank is like the classic Silent Hill titles.
No, not now. We've had my happiness!
The biggest source of annoyance for me, as far as the combat was concerned, was the enemies getting an auto-grab a bit too easily once in a while, but again, I didn't find it unmanageable. I'll also mention that once in a while, the multi-face monster that can make the plants grow out of the ground could be a bit irritating, as you really just have to sit there and wait for the plants to go away if you're wanting to, or in a section where you need to take it out. If you want a Silent Hill that's just way too focused on the combat system, that's Homecoming, isn't it? Do you really want another Homecoming? Though in Silent Hill F, I suppose you do have to go home again. Though do you really get to still call it home? And there are parts in Silent Hill F where you have to defeat enemies for a bit before you can move on, so if you dislike the combat system, I suppose I can see that being a bit frustrating.
Again? Stop trying to...
But I didn't feel like these sections came up enough to really be annoying or to really wreck the atmosphere, which I felt was one of the biggest successes of this title. It really felt creepy in parts while doing its own thing. And there were parts of the game too where it was a much better call to save your weapon's durability and peace out of there rather than battling it out. One thing that worried me a bit though was starting out there was a chase sequence with you having to outrun the spider willies growing at you. And basically if you turn down the wrong corner you're gonna have to do it again, which gave me some short message flashbacks.
Not again! Not again!
Fortunately, this isn't actually something that comes up very often in this game. There's really only two main parts where you have to outrun the plants like this, so overall I wasn't really that bothered by the chase sequences here. It's like, if that comes up once in a while, okay. I just don't want to be a main feature of an otherworld or something. I do gotta mention though how it's rather amusing Hinako hops a fence during one of these bits, but the video game logic is very strong in this game and she absolutely will not hop over something or squeeze through an area to bypass a slight inconvenience. A gate is locked? Well, guess we're gonna have to fight through monsters in a school instead of getting a box or something and hopping over it. Does this road lead to freedom? Well, I don't want to step around a cart and find out. That's just not worth it. I played through multiple times and got every single ending in Silent Hill F. Would I do that if I didn't enjoy the game? Yeah, maybe. But I did like it. It is a bit disconnected to Silent Hill, taking place far away from where the location of Silent Hill is supposed to be, and in a time period well before stupid Dahlia Gillespie and friends drove Alessa so mad she opened up the gate to the other world. But despite all that, Silent Hill F captures an overall vibe that feels true to the original games, which has been a real struggle for this series since they're no longer being worked on by Team Silent. Story-wise though, yeah, at times this was just so separated from the original town and stuff, you could say that this game could have just dropped the Silent Hill title and been called something like Hinako's Dark Secret or something. But as a psychological horror game experience, it did feel true to Silent Hill. The main story features the complete mental breakdown of your main character, Shimizu Hinako. And there are a bunch of manifestations appearing based on that and the situation she is dealing with, which is what the town of Silent Hill could cause to happen to people as well. So, in that respect, Silent Hill does feel a bit more deeply connected to Hinako's hometown of Ebisagaoka than both of them just sharing a fog warning. Now, I will say, one of my favorite things in Silent Hill is the otherworld, and that concept is only sort of in this game. My first time playing Silent Hill 1, I recall being into it, but the moment that super hooked me was that first main otherworld transition. Not the quick one in the alley at the start, but the one in the school when you go through the clock tower only to end up in the same courtyard.
Have I been here before? I don't remember this being here before.
And then you realize you're now in a more overtly evil-looking, distorted version of the school. The otherworld in Silent Hill F takes the form of these segments where you visit an area called the Dark Shrine.
I fashioned this key from Mystic Jade, especially for you.
While it is a distorted version of some supposedly real locations, you don't get like a Dark Shrine version of the school that you have to investigate or anything like that. They are just completely separate areas. While it disappoints me a bit not to have a classic Otherworld, I was interested enough in the Dark Shrine segments, and since this game is a bit of a spin-off, I feel like it's fine for it to try something a bit different.
I'm not gonna cut it out. I'm gonna keep bringing it up until you snap back to reality.
And the main town where this game takes place, Ebisagaoka, does get distorted over your return visits, especially as the red spider lilies continue to take over.
Even the town? I need to hurry home.
Which is something that keeps happening throughout the story.
It's got my home too.
Though there is one spot that does the classic distortion of a single location, and it is my favorite part of the game, when Hinako has to return home and explore the Shimizu residence.
What's going on? The halls, the doors, everything's changed.
I found the Shimizu residence one of the creepiest parts of the game. There's just something unsettling about the whole thing. And Hinako stating that this is not even how her house is supposed to be laid out immediately sets a good tone for how off this place is.
Our house doesn't have a room like this.
And you don't just explore the house once, you have to go through 3 different versions of Hinako's messed up home and grab items from all 3 to get through this location.
Is this my room?
No need to see me home. See you tomorrow.
partner.
Right, partner.
I like you the way you are now. You wouldn't be you if you went with what others wanted.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
So yeah, it is the most classic otherworldly spot in the entire game, and it's not even in the game's otherworld. There is even technically a fourth version of the home too, but that's just a short lead up to the boss fight of the area. Still kinda creepy though, and it basically turns into nowhere from Silent Hill 1 as it's not even on your map.
This is going nowhere.
But, of course, it makes sense to have a map of 3 other bizarro versions of the Shimizu residence, just not a fourth. This is one of the areas too that'll vary quite a bit based on what ending you're heading towards. You'll get different cutscenes, items will be in different locations, and even a door you have to unlock with a bird key will change which room it's on. In most playthroughs, it's on the dining room, but when you're heading towards ending 4, it'll be the parents' bedroom, which leads to Hinako finally getting to have an involved talk with her mother.
Your father, he was very hurt by that betrayal.
But still, that's no excuse for the pain he caused.
Hinako, I know you think that a married woman is supposed to subject herself to her husband's abuse. But you know, married women aren't as weak or helpless as you think we are.
Thank you for telling me all of it.
The Shimizu residence is also a location that has a lot of subtle horror elements, which is something I really appreciated in the earlier Silent Hill games. There's a room where you have to solve a photo puzzle where the ceiling suddenly turns into gravity-defying red water. There's also a room that just seemingly loops infinitely. You get to a point where you can't go any further, but you can see several doors open in the distance leading to the same room again. I kinda wish it had gone just a little further before stopping you though, or maybe kept looping you until you gave up and turned around. You know, kind of like the Mario 64 staircase. Or, when you peer into the distance in this room, you'd see another Hinako looking back at you. That would fit the game's theme rather well too, as there's a lot of double Hinako going on.
You can see me, right? Now you can even hear my voice. So, what should we do about our future?
There's also a spot in the house that opens up later that doesn't appear on the map and leads you to an even more messed up version of Hinako's room. I always liked when in Silent Hill there'd be a location like this that just seemingly does not exist, much like El Camilla Hospital's 4th floor. I even had a dream once that involved an elevator button suddenly appearing like that bit in Silent Hill 1. The Shimizu residence also kinda reminded me of Silent Hill Homecoming when Alex does what the title of that game suggests, but I find F's take on it to be much more effective and creepier. Where Homecoming was just often too loud and action-focused to set as good of a tone. Part of the story too is that Hinako's father has a drinking problem, and in the 3rd version of the house you'll find an area completely littered with sake bottles, leading to a room with a giant bottle with an eye. Something about her only response to this being, "I should leave right away," comes off particularly chilling. Also, kinda reminded me of that giant Eileen head from Silent Hill 4. Now, while I'd love to see an actually new game which is executed well and takes place in Silent Hill proper, the 60s Japan setting grew on me and added an interesting horror vibe as things became increasingly off here. There's a few things that kinda made me think of Resident Evil in this game too, like having to find some crests to open a door. Jill and Chris can relate to Hinako on that one. Also, there's an enemy that is pretty close to a licker, which does, in fact, lick you. I've seen some complaints about its lack of direct connection to the lore of Silent Hill, which I can get some of, but people getting upset that the Order cult isn't directly involved, I think is a bit silly. Remember Silent Hill 2? A game that was mostly about the town bringing out people's personal demons and barely had anything to do with the cult? Dahlia Gillespie and her stupid cult were not the reason Silent Hill was interesting. They, through horrible actions, caused what gives the town such an interesting horror lore, but simply having the cult around doesn't make a Silent Hill title good. Like with Homecoming. I was getting pretty tired of the cult members there. Oh, and let's not forget the absolute tedium of Silent Hill Ascension.
I have to learn that actions have consequences.
Mentioning the stupid Order there certainly didn't make that worth watching. If you need a Silent Hill game that references a bunch of stuff you remember from the series, they just released a game that does that. The Silent Hill 2 remake. And side note, I am cautiously excited about that Silent Hill 1 remake. Please be good, please be good. Or I will take so many capsules that I see myself and I can beat myself up. If that means anything. And if you do dig into one aspect of Silent Hill F, there is actually a bit of tie-in to the cult and something you might remember from previous Silent Hill games. The first time you play through this game, you're locked into one ending, which ends up being related to one of your healing items, the red capsules. These were given to Hinako by her friend Shu.
Oh, that's my Hinako.
I think I got this from Shu.
They are supposedly supposed to be a less harsh natural medicine way to help Hinako with her headaches. But you'll eventually find out that Shu had ulterior motives to give Hinako these little red capsules.
They help you reflect within yourself. But they can be extremely dangerous, too.
Why would you give me something like
I
that?
want you to get married!
Aww, he drugged her in the name of love. How sweet. You'll find some documents about what was used in the making of Little Shoe Boy's medicine, and it would seem that it partly involves a white plant named Hakokoso, which is actually White Claudia. You know, the cool substance the old Order like to get people hooked on. The Order might have also brought the plant over to Japan in the first place, so there's some connections. Aglaophotis, the strange red liquid that exorcised demons, so to speak, and was important in getting certain endings in Silent Hill 1 and 3, might also make an appearance in Silent Hill F. When getting Ending 2, you have to acquire an item called Aguara no Hotai-sama, which contains a strange red liquid which when consumed by Hinako seems to have a similar effect. In her case, it rids her of the other Hinako.
Curse you. What have you done to Hinako?
If it is Aglaophotis, that was kind of a more positive thing in the previous games, as here it just kind of helps Hinako not listen to a part of herself.
Bet you can't see this.
Aglaophotis! I thought I got rid of that!
The red capsules also lead Hinako down a very dark path into what is the most abrupt ending Silent Hill F has to offer.
Yonikawa 2 to HQ. We've got 2 male victims here. Same female suspect as in the wedding massacre on Route 8.
It appears the suspect was observed consuming red and white capsules at the scene of the crime.
Get out of our way!
This also seems to be the only ending where people actually literally die, and it's a bit detached from every other ending in the game. When I first finished the game and got this ending, I thought maybe the two Hinekos were more about her losing herself to her addiction and becoming a monster rather than it being about her upcoming marriage. But after you clear the game and play through again on New Game Plus, it makes the story much more clear.
Hinako, I thought you were playing with your friends.
I don't need them anyway. Who even cares about their dumb games? Hey, did you know that when a girl grows up, she has to get married? It's her job.
It's actually a bit weird how muddled the first ending is, but I guess that kind of goes with the fact that Hinako isn't thinking straight due to all the red capsules.
I think it's weird too.
These apparently drive Hinako insane and to her having a red wedding, which kind of paints Shu in a less than favorable light. Maybe Shu should split himself in half too. Which, hey, he actually did! After a point in the game where you escape the Scarecrow field, you'll see Shu waiting for you by Rinko's house. But if you look over towards the area where you met up with Shu before entering the field, you'll see him there as well.
Shu's waiting for me. I need to go.
I'm guessing he's not really supposed to be in both locations, but does add for a nice little weird out bit with him being where he's not supposed to be anymore. I guess if this is a glitch, it's a happy little accident as it's nice and creepy. Especially given what a little pusher boy Shu is, Hinako definitely doesn't need two of him around. Plus, it does actually sort of fit in the story, as we find out Shu had tried his little red capsules to speak with himself, much like Hinako does. I think Shu gets off a little too easy for drugging his friend instead of, just talking to her and letting her know his feelings for her. He even says he knew these things could be dangerous if Hinako took too many, but apparently never properly warned her. I get that he's a very important friend to Hinako and part of her life where she's more free to be herself, but this is a pretty huge betrayal of trust. You know, kinda much worse than not slowing down to finish a race with your friends who can't run as fast, right, Sakako?
You traitor.
Sakako.
Where are you off to?
You traitor.
Hinako kinda needed a better friend group. Sakako takes way too big of offense to Hinako not doing everything at her pace, and Rinko, of course, is super jelly of Hinako's relationship with little Shu boy. And we all know what a real prince pusher he is. Guess he and Rinko have pushing in common.
Hinako's dead, okay? She's gone. She's living a better life in another world.
Also, if your friends turn into Silent Hill monsters and try to kill you, maybe you do at least need some kind of change in your life.
Don't worry. It's just a joke.
It's actually a very interesting twist, though, for the game to throw at you that one of your healing items was actually a bad thing, which is why every other ending requires you to never use them. And while this is a neat twist in that regard, it is a bit weird that the game locks you into the red capsule ending on your first playthrough. This is a game that requires the extra playthroughs for you to really get a lot out of the story, which works for anyone who's willing to put the time in. But if you only like to play through something once, you'll kind of be left out in the cold on a lot of what is happening in this game. So yeah, where every other ending requires you to never use the red capsules, luckily you are able to upgrade Hinako at save points throughout the game by enshrining certain items and finding Emmas. You can also get upgrades to equip to Hinako, which will give certain advantages or up stats. Upgrade your stamina first. You want lots and lots of stamina. Anyway, your upgrades you make to Hinako carry over to your New Game Plus, which makes it much easier to survive without ever having to go down the dark addiction path.
I'll do this without you. I'm still bleeding. I have to do something.
And painkillers usually stop bleeding so well. Chowing down on some food will nicely patch up Hinako as well. I actually never used a single food item during my first go-through because I wanted to enshrine them all for faith, which gave a lot of freedom to chow down a bit in the later playthroughs. There are also omamori you can equip that'll refill some health for defeating enemies and stuff, which are particularly nice early game when one of your health items is now off the table. It's also nice to save some items that refill your sanity on New Game Plus runs, as it'll also fill up your Hulk out meter. More on that in a sec. Once you get to Shu's house in New Game Plus, you'll get a cutscene where Hinako says she's gonna do this without Dr. Shu's dirty medicine, which also lets you know you haven't screwed up and accidentally taken one. Though this happens pretty late into the game, so you'll be replaying a lot if you don't get this cutscene. Luckily, it's easy to take the capsules off your use menu. After you get that cutscene, the red capsules actually stop spawning entirely in the game. Another big twist the game throws at you is that the Hinako you play as during the Dark Shrine segments is actually not the same Hinako you play running through the regular world. Well, until near the end of the game when they briefly switch which world what Hinako is in. Hinako has been fractured into two sides because she's being forced into an arranged marriage.
She's going to do as she's told for once and help me pay off this debt.
Hinako belongs to me. She is no longer yours.
No way. She's my partner, so she's always mine. I'm just lending her to you.
Stop treating me like an object.
Hinako's husband-to-be is Kotoyuki, who appears as Fox Mask during the Dark Shrine segments, and he helps Hinako along with these ceremonies, which involve her losing parts of herself and being replaced with fox bits, like a fox arm and mask. This symbolizes her being absorbed into Kotoyuki's family, and also losing who Shimizu Hinako used to be.
No more pain or suffering to be had. I will calm myself.
Very good. That's my Hinako.
Yes. Thank you very much.
The Fox Hinako represents the part of Hinako who has decided to go through with the marriage, and she commits some rather horrible acts like killing off all her friends and family, which is symbolic of her having to let them go as they won't really be a part of her new life as Kotoyuki's bride.
It's a sun shower.
You traitor.
This is also why Sakako calls Hinako a traitor.
You traitor!
Because she's giving up all her friends in what is about to become her new life. Which is why she's the first to go.
You traitor.
It turns out that the fog monster that's chased regular Hinako around several times is actually the final evolution, so to speak, of Fox Hinako becoming a bride. So yeah, they kind of trick you first into thinking you're watching the same Hinako switch between each world as she tends to go to sleep or get knocked out before the switcheroo. But no, it would appear that a lot of Fox Hinako's journey took place before the Hinako and Ebisagaoka stuff. And the regular Hinako represents the part of her who doesn't want to lose who Shimizu Hinako is.
Both of us are Hinako. But I think one of us has to be wrong.
And they make a point of her repeating her full name, as once she's married to Kotoyuki, she will lose her family name, Shimizu.
My name is Shimizu Hinako!
You killed my father. Prepare to die! Though with Hinako's father issues, she'd probably be happy about that.
For the longest time, I yelled at you, scared you. I'm sorry.
You're apologizing for that now? You think that's just gonna erase what you did?
Hinako being forced to essentially lose her current life to become a wife is also represented by the spread of the red spider lilies, as they symbolize death and rebirth in Japanese culture. It is seen as especially grotesque by the regular Hinako, versus when the fox Hinako ends up in Ebisagaoka towards the end of the game, she views it quite differently.
The town. It's beautiful.
I did like how the lilies show up very differently during this section, much softer and pinkish, as this version of Hinako doesn't fear them. Hinako's sister Junko shows up a few times, usually pushing Hinako towards marriage, as that is the path she's already been forced onto. You never really get to see Junko's face besides a photo in the house, and when you do see Junko, she has a mask much like Fox Hinako.
Choose death, Hinako. Does everyone do this? Is everyone a killer? Did you kill too? Of course. I killed everyone. Father, mother, even you, my precious little sister. I killed my friends as well. Every one of them.
This is because Junko has already largely lost herself to the family she's been absorbed into. I was back and forth on if I thought Junko was actually real or a manifestation of Hinako's worry about what she'd become as a married woman. There is a real lack of evidence she exists in the Shimizu residence, though that could be because of the very literal interpretation by Hinako that she is essentially dead to them now. You know, due to having to give up everything and everyone in her past for her married life. One thing that really got me leaning towards Junko as a part of Hinako was the fact that during one of the playthroughs heading towards Ending 3 was in that version of the Shimizu Residence 2, Hinako's room is instead Junko's room.
Is this my room? Where are you?
However, that could be just because Hinako got that room once Junko moved out. And on New Game Plus, you get this scene which depicts Junko and Hinako having a discussion about arranged marriage.
Marrying for love is nice, but love is blind.
You know what they say, love is blind.
What's most important to me is not whether or not I'm happy, but if I can choose my own fate. I have to admit, that all sounds like an unrealistic ideal to me. But I don't think you're wrong about what you're saying. In another 100 years, no, perhaps sooner than that, there will come a time when true happiness is choosing your own path, no matter the outcome. I obviously can't live in that world, but I hope you can. Hinako.
And this scene makes me think it's more that there was a Junko here, but she's gone now.
Hello?
Daddy? Help me! Daddy? Where are you?
The fox arm is something I felt a little conflicted about once you get it, as it's a very powerful weapon, and then you can even power up further by hulking out, so to speak, which really wrecks the enemies in your path.
I'm warning you. Don't try to stop.
The fox arm is something that's fun to use, but it almost feels like it's something you shouldn't have on your first playthrough. But I do like the further contrast this provides between the two Hinakos. You'll be smashing through everything with the super fox arm, then be thrown back to regular Hinako where you'll have to worry about breaking your weapons again. You know, unless Hinako has already mastered the way of the Jedi. So yeah, there's a good old UFO ending, which is some classic Silent Hill. This ending also changes everything about what's going on. Instead of it being about a wedding, it's all about aliens.
Allegedly.
This is also the only ending where you get to see Rinko and Sakako, which is kind of disappointing, as it would have been nice to get something with those two in at least one of the other endings.
This robot can detect aliens masquerading as humans and automatically eliminate them.
Wait, so the Sakako that thing killed,
was actually an alien?
That thing was chasing me all over the place. I guess you had a hint of alien on you, Hinako. You might be an alien, or maybe someone close to you is an alien.
I like that Mira the dog shows up too. Been pulling the strings since the 60s, I guess. This is also the most likable Hinako's father ever is.
What about the aliens? Everything all right?
Ah, the neighborhood watch got together and took care of them.
Plus, Shu gets beaten up, which is good. He deserves it, stupid pill boy. The ending where Hinako runs away with Shu gets called the good ending sometimes. Pfft, yeah, right. The alien ending is clearly the good ending. And after you've done this ending, when you pop by one of the space movie posters that you had to find to get this ending in the first place, the aliens will nicely toss you a lightsaber. It's a decent weapon that's not as clumsy or random as a blaster, and it doesn't take up one of the 3 normal weapon slots you have. So don't be too shocked given the story, but 2 of the endings are Hinako chooses marriage, or Hinako chooses no thanks. One of the pretty neat things in this game too is that every single ending has a different boss fight, except the UFO one. There's no boss there except for enemies in the way of the last thing you need to grab. Which Hinako you fight the boss as also changes depending on the ending you're heading towards.
Just what the hell are you?
Ever since, I've wanted nothing more than your hand and your happiness. Hinako, I shall make you my wife yet.
Hinako, just forget about me. And friend.
Let's do this, partner. That alien scum won't go down without a fight. But together, we can take it on!
One of the requirements for the extra endings is getting the sacred sword, which involves finding certain items and offering them up.
Come to us. Come to the divine tree.
What was I? Divine tree? What is this all about?
You can also choose to purify the sword or not, which affects the ending you get.
From now on, I can take a stand on my own.
That's right, I don't need this sword anymore. Just kidding, I'm still taking it. Kinda funny, the evil, non-purified version is what you need to get the ending where Hinako chooses no marriage for me, thanks, and really the sword is a much better weapon, not purified. You get this great thrust attack with it that helps immensely, and it will regenerate durability when you're using other weapons. When you purify it, you really kinda nerf the damn thing. It's still okay, I guess, but no thrust attack or regenerating. It's basically just another not that special weapon at that point, but like the lightsaber, the sword can never fully break and doesn't take up a normal weapon slot. It's also a bit strange that getting this sword and purifying it or not is important for all the other endings, but the sword never actually features in any of them. It's all just symbolic, cause marriage is a lot like a cursed sword, you know? Or a purified sword, I guess, since that's the ending you get if you purify it. But then you also have to purify it to get the ending where Hinako chooses neither Fox Boy nor Shoe Boy, so marriage is actually nothing at all like a sword. I don't know. I think this got away from me.
Don't worry. It's just a joke.
The 4th ending, also known as the true ending, has the 2 Hinakos team up as they fight 2 alternate versions of the bosses from endings 2 and 3. Before, these bosses were the monster versions of Shu and Kotoyuki. But in the ending 4 version, they are Hinako's doll and someone in Kotoyuki's family, probably either his father or grandfather.
In the past, we relied on our cunning, seducing our brides with clever deceit. But this generation's heir...
I am deeply sorry. He has had much to drink for his first wedding in many moons. He is normally so kind.
Or you can take things more literally and believe that these are two gods actually battling over the town rather than it just being the climax of Hinako's personal dilemmas. Whatever floats your boat, I guess. In this ending, called Ebisagauka in Silence, Hinako takes back her agency by listening to both sides of herself, and gets Kotoyuki to agree that they should wait on marriage and come back to each other a bit later on to see if they even actually like each other.
I want to know whether my love for you is more than the mere whim of a spell.
I hope that we can meet again. I'll think it through, slowly and carefully.
I did find interesting too that despite this being an arranged marriage, Kotoyuki was someone Hinako knew briefly from her past, and she does at least have some feelings for him. She's just not quite sure how deep they go yet.
I don't think it's ever been this quiet in Ebisagauka. It's really beautiful. And it is all ours.
The town is now at peace, which shows Hinako's mind is no longer in chaos, and Fox Hinako has her face back. I wonder if that was a tricky procedure, considering she had a complete face off when she got the mask. But the two Hinakos never become one again, which seems a little weird. You'd think that would show the true end of the divide within herself. I guess, though, she's still a bit of two minds about the whole possible marriage in the future. But hey, at least Hinako finally has a good friend. Her White Claudia-induced hallucination. Thanks, Shu. In the last playthrough, you do get a bit more from Sakako and Rinko through notes stating they're being a bit too harsh to Hinako. Yeah, maybe just a bit. But I do wish you got some actual scenes with either of them in the lead up to the last ending.
I never wanted to see you like this, Rinko. But I'm very happy that in the end, we finally got to tell each other how we truly feel.
You can argue that they died, but so did regular Hinako, and she got over it. Now, you do get quite a few variations of scenes during all your playthroughs. Like, on New Game Plus, the opening scene is now more blatantly about the forced marriage. But there are large parts of the game towards the beginning where it's just the same cutscenes regardless of your playthrough. Like most of the scenes where you're trying to escape town with Shu and Rinko. There are some sections in New Game Plus though where you can largely skip areas. Mostly the school can be finished almost immediately. However, you do still really want to duck out into the schoolyard to grab that sledgehammer, as that is one of Hinako's best weapons. There's also a new room to explore in the school that's only open on New Game Plus. You also get full Fox Hinako in the Dark Shrine much earlier, and one of the visits to there is built around Fox Hinako's abilities, so you can blow through that one right away. However, this is also the spot where you have to do some stuff and pick up an item for some of the New Game Plus endings. While I did enjoy getting new bits of story through subsequent playthroughs, I did think there could have been a bit more variation in the first half of the game, especially when you're on New Game Plus. It really is once you hit the Shimizu residence that things really start to vary the most, because that is the point in the game where what ending you're heading towards is locked in. And, of course, that is also towards the end of the game. Is it a perfect game? Absolutely. No, I can't say that! Ugh, the last thing I need is to talk to myself again. I'm glad we finally got a new, real Silent Hill game, which isn't a literal remake of 2 or a stealth remake of 2, and one that gives classic survival horror gameplay vibes. I'm also happy it was a dark game at times, but was never actually hard to see what you're doing. I enjoyed playing through it multiple times, and it's nice to see one with a fresh take. Also, I'm glad this was a Silent Hill game where the twist isn't that your main character did something horrible, as they've done that a bit too often after 2. Well, besides in ending 1, I suppose. Now, if we could just get a fresh take on Silent Hill in Silent Hill, that would bring both sides of our souls in balance. Or maybe it'd just be a good game. You liked this game? You traitor!